Hello everybody, welcome to the Football Fill-In. A lovely weekend, hope you've enjoyed the sun. Watto has, by the looks of it, 'cause he's got a lovely little tan on him.
Yeah, mate. Wembley, Saturday.
Palace
Villa, yeah.
How was it?
If you're a Villa fan like my son, very disappointing. If you were a Palace fan, an amazing performance. And that's the first time I'd seen Palace live this season, and Glasner's got something going there. They were phenomenal.
Get the barbecue out?
Yeah, mate.
Beautiful, wasn't
Classic barbecue stuff. How about you?
Yeah, lovely, same. Golf, barbecue.
Lobster tail?
Lobster tail, bit of filet steak as well, couple of beers.
That doesn't happen for a lad from Barnsley.
We get
It's
sausage
and a burger,
Listen
mate.
to you, Sarah, damn by, aren't you? Right, Liverpool, we're going to start with them because they've just won the league, and it was an absolute doddle, wasn't it? 8 changes for Spurs, because obviously they've got the big European match in the week.
Bodo Glimt.
Against Bodo Glimt. Who are they, by the way? What league are they in? Norwegian league?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, lads. Anyway, it was a doddle. Watto, 5-1. It got off to a bit of a stanky start, but ever since the goal, that was it. It was just game over.
Yeah, it was strange. Obviously, we're all at home Sunday afternoon, couple of beers,
Yeah.
out in the garden watching the football and chilling. But even when Solanke scored from that corner, you never felt Spurs were ever going to stop that party. Look, he's made 8 changes because they've got what he seems is a massive game.
Do you think he would make 8 changes if it was somebody better than Bodo Glimt? Do you think he's kind of almost thinking, we're going to beat Bodo Glimt, we're going to go through to the final, surely?
No, I don't think he is thinking like that. Is he making 8 changes because it's Liverpool? And he goes, well,
We're getting beat anyway.
we're going to get beat anyway.
Well, that's more my thinking, because I don't think any Spurs team in the modern era can accept getting beat 5 at Liverpool. And I think Liverpool are an unbelievable team, undoubtedly the best team in the league, deserve to win it. But if you're Spurs, you have had a shit season, let's have it right, you can't be going there and getting beat 5.
No.
If you're Tottenham.
What does that do for preparation? Like, I understand the, keeping players fresh and not trying to get injuries, but going into a European semi-final on the back of an absolute thumping when the manager's under pressure already.
I don't like it. I just think I think if ever there was any doubt that Spurs fans don't like Ange and they want to get rid of him, that result straight away just goes, well, even if we win the Europa Cup, the Europa League, then he's definitely gone, because the rot that is set in at that team is phenomenal. The fact that they are just forgetting about the fact that they've got a Premier League game. 5-1, it's fine, don't worry about it. It's all focused on the Bodo Glimt game. That's not Spurs.
It's not Spurs, and it can't be Spurs. And I think we'll come on to Villa in a little bit in terms of where we think and why they've dropped off. But ultimately, Spurs should be challenging on all fronts, like a Villa, a Chelsea, an Arsenal, a City, Liverpool. That's what they've got to get into. Man United. That's what these teams have been brought up on. And not to be competing in the Premier League and accept that you make 8 changes and accept a 5-1 defeat at Liverpool, it's a real detriment to where they've become as a football team.
Do you think, though, if they got in a different manager, how much work needs to be done on the squad?
Oh, massive.
Is it overhaul?
You know, we spoke about it last week about the rot from one season carrying on into the next season.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure they're going to get rid of Ange and they'll get a new manager in, but I still think that stink from this season will linger into next season, and it will take them to get onto a little bit of a bad run again, and it will just be same old, same old. Spurs are so far away from it, so far away from it. You look at the lads that started yesterday, and they didn't put any kind of effort or fight up against Liverpool. Liverpool, honestly, it was a doddle.
But you look at their squad versus United's squad, and you'd say that Spurs have a much better 11, wouldn't you? Than United.
I think much better.
I'd say that it's.
I think it's a bit better, and if all being equal, and Man United's got a tough game against Bilbao to get to that final, but if both teams put whatever their best 11 is, I think Spurs will be favourites to beat Man United.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Liverpool, can we give them some love, by the way, because they were ruthless, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were ruthless. They went the goal down and nothing changed. They just carried on doing what they were doing. The goals that they scored, the intensity, the will to just want to win and do it properly. Nothing changed, did it? No. That's what I liked about Liverpool. The way Slot has them working, it's just, I don't care. They don't care if they're behind, ahead. They have got a game plan and they just stick to it religiously.
For years and years, you see this quarrelling on Monday Night Football, whatever, Carragher and Neville, and Neville's always had that. Yeah, but we've won 20 league titles.
I know,
We've won
yeah.
Are Liverpool the biggest club in Britain? No. So, in terms of like silverware, 20 league titles.
Well,
was it 5 Champions Leagues? Is it European Cups?
They've got more European Cups.
So, are Liverpool a bigger? Are they the biggest team in Britain? Well, right now, yes. But in terms of like history and everything else, what would you say, Ben?
I don't know if you can say that. I don't know if you can say that.
I think the answer is, at the minute, because of the previous European record, with them getting that 20th title, yes.
Because everything's cyclical, right?
Yeah,
in the
sure,
90s, United dominated. In the 80s, 70s, Liverpool, and now obviously Liverpool have come back round again. So you have to look at it in the fullness of time. Well, and based on that, you'd have to say Liverpool are the bigger club.
But that's Man United fans' only hope, that they know that they dominated for such a period of time and Liverpool were nowhere
near it. Yeah.
I think
it's a long period of time that Man United are going to have to wait.
Memories are short, though. Memories are short, and what people will realise and remember is the here and now. And anybody under the age of about 20 they won't recognise Man United as a big team whatsoever. They'll see Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, but they'll see them as the big boys. Liverpool at this moment in time are the biggest club. One of the biggest clubs in the world, top 3.
Club United, because obviously that winning rampage they went on was in the golden era of money in football. So they've ridden that, and the growth of the club globally was massive.
Yeah.
So there's that, isn't there?
Yes. But it's about here and now. And Liverpool are consistently in that top 4. In that top 4.
Well, I thought when you saw the interviews after the game, I thought there were some real insights from the players in terms of the tactics, with Slot and Harry came in at the start. But what I'm interested in is when we're talking about the size of the clubs and that, when they interviewed Big Verge after the game, and he spoke about re-signing and why he'd signed, and his thing on the field was, for this club, these fans, it's the biggest club in the world to him. And that's how he feels as club captain there. And I think that was part of the reason he's probably signed as well, you know what I mean? I've never been at them top clubs. You're fortunate enough to have been there. But like a Liverpool and a Man United, they're football institutions in this country. But for Verge to feel as though that's the biggest, and part of the reason he signed, I thought, were a real insight into why him and Salah potentially have re-signed.
The difference between Liverpool and Man United is so vast at this moment in time. It's so vast. And don't get me wrong, Man United have got some good players. They have got a few good players, but Liverpool are stacked with them. They've got 16 or 17 very, very good players.
Do you know what the thing for me is? We've kind of gone into United, Liverpool here, haven't we? The thing for me, which says everything about both of the clubs, is Slot coming on the pitch afterwards and chanting Klopp's name and Klopp's name going around the stadium, and you think, this club is in such a good place. From what I know, from what we gather, from every single touch point, this club is rock solid.
Do you know what they've got, Liverpool, right? We spoke ages ago, didn't we, about how many captains they've got in the team, and it's not just how many captains they've got, but the big leaders, the real key players, the Virgil van Dijks and the Mo Salahs, right? I honestly think most of that team look up to them as like father figures. They look up to them and they model themselves on them. They model their behaviour, the way they play, their intensity, their professionalism. Everything they do on and off the pitch, I think they model on Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah, because they are the epitome of top professionals.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, they could be the real deal for a period of time.
They're only going to get better in the summer.
Yeah, for sure.
They're only going to improve.
And it was interesting after the game as well. So you see, obviously, the staff down on the pitch, but Richard Hughes, who's been a very quiet but efficient operator as sporting director, on the pitch, talking with Slot straight away. And look, they're a phenomenal team, but if you could, you know, add some little bits and pieces to the jigsaw, because if Trent goes, you're probably saying a right back.
Yeah.
I think Robertson's done phenomenal at left back, but I do think there's potentially better out there. I mean, the way they play 4-3-3, if you got two
Flyers.
Incredible fullbacks to add to that team with what they've got, and maybe change the front if Núñez goes and gets another attacker, oh my God. And I think they'll be well down the line in doing the business.
I think now they've got this two-year grace period now where they've got to find alternatives for VVD.
I think they've got to find two. I think they've got to find two, probably three key players that are going to start for them week in, week out. And I think one of them's going to be a left back. Trent's going to go. We know we need a right back, and you need a big boy up top. You need a striker. But I don't think they'll go for a striker. I think they'll go for another Jota-like
someone
player,
that can
like
rotate on the line.
Diaz-like player.
I think they need a number 9. I think they need a big... If they were... I know this is easy to say, if they had Haaland or Isaac, because these are like rocking horse poop, these strikers these days. But if they had that 9 that was going to get them 20 Premier League goals with what Mo Salah chips in, and then Diaz and Gakpo...
Do you reckon Semenyo from Bournemouth would do a job?
Liverpool. For sure. Yeah. But like money talks, doesn't it? And there's the rules and all that with it for Liverpool now. But with what we've just spoke about, the team, the manager, the culture, the club, everything with it, even if you're at one of the bigger teams in this league, if Liverpool come knocking on your door now, you're going to be very, very... Forget the salaries. Football-wise, you're going to be wanting to be a part of that. Yeah. And I think that's what's going to give them the edge over all their competitors at the minute, because at the minute, that's the team where you want to be. And I think they could be phenomenal. But the big challenge for them is, obviously, they won it 5 years ago, but can they do like a Man United or a Liverpool of old? Can they take it back to back? That's the real challenge and the momentum. And it's interesting because I heard a story when I was watching... or listening to a podcast over the last couple of weeks, and it were interesting. So Mourinho, when he went in at Chelsea and they'd won the league the first time, he came back for pre-season, and all in the training ground, they'd got JT with a trophy, the players celebrating on the pitch. He went fucking mad. And within 5 minutes, the whole thing was ripped down. Gone. Because it's this season counts.
Don't want to be comfortable.
That's history. And I think if... the players and the management take that mentality into Liverpool next season, because that has to be their challenge. Can they do it again? And that would be... I
think I agree with you, like a Semenyo, but for me, Mbeumo would be the guy. For me, Mbeumo would be the guy.
I don't think he's out-and-out number 9.
No, I know, but I've got, one eye on Salah departing, and I think he'd be a really good fit. And then the other one would be, for me, Huijsen. So again, that's someone that VVD can bring under his wing.
We're talking about the centre-back at Bournemouth here, not what you put on your duck pancakes, right?
Yeah, Huijsen. Huijsen. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. But yeah, I think a couple of those kind of players. And then, like you talk about Robertson, there was talk of Kerkez, there was talk of Anthony Robinson, who's been phenomenal this year.
They all get linked with Liverpool because they would fit so seamlessly into their style of play, the way that Liverpool go about it. I thought Robertson was brilliant on
no, he was phenomenal.
He was flying again, weren't he?
They would think that they're still, obviously with Trent leaving, the two wide areas are something where you can get... You're trying to get a little bit better, aren't you? And they could be phenomenal. But it's interesting because we spoke about Solanke getting the first goal in that game. I mean, 65 million quid, 8 goals, 27 years of age in 25 games and things like that. But, would he fit into a Liverpool?
I don't think he's at that level. I think the reason why Spurs are where they are is because, I said it again, once you sell a world-class player, you are not replacing him. Nobody's replacing a world-class player. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Real Madrid or Barcelona. If you sell one of your world-class players, like the top of the top, you can't replace it.
For Solanke hasn't been given a lot of flack this season. He's been... I think he's been quite well received, but actually, when you start looking at it and going, he's not scored 1 in 3 in the league. He's 27, 65 mil.
Yeah. Leading the line for Spurs. Don't worry, he's had some injuries. He's played 25 Premier League games. He's a good
player.
But why he gets a bit of grace is because he works hard,
Yeah, he does.
He's a different player to a Harry Kane, whereas a Harry Kane will give you hard work, but you know he's going to score goals. It's ruthless,
Guaranteed.
Absolutely ruthless. It's guaranteed. And them players are... It's rocket
That's why I'm saying...
You can't replace them.
What he gives Spurs, that would really fit into that Liverpool model. And they get a few more chances. And I'm not saying Spurs are going to sell him or he's even available, but 65 million... It's well within the budget.
I'd take Semenyo from Bournemouth. I really would. I think he looked incredible at the weekend. His finish, the goal that he scored, right? When that ball drops to him, I'm just thinking, mate, you've got to make good contact here because you've got a load of bodies in front of you. If you can get even a deflection or something, as long as you get enough power, and it's on target, you could score a goal here, and his contact was phenomenal. On his left foot, clean as a whistle, half volley, zinged it through legs. Beautiful, weren't it?
The best part about that goal was it's the first time I've heard no commentator say the goalie's got beat his post for a while. Because honestly, if anybody would have said that comment,
lost your head.
It's like, honestly, it's like a bullet flying in there.
It's gone through legs from about 8 yards.
It's incredible finish.
Great contact.
I think next season, though, we'd hope that there'll be a stiffer challenge from your Arsenals or Chelsea's or Man City, because, like, Liverpool, if they win the rest of their games, could finish on 94 points, which is a good tally to win the league. But it's not the 100 points? Or whatever. But the second place finish, Arsenal could finish on 79
points. If they win all their games.
Yeah. Whereas the previous 3 seasons, second place has been 92 points, 84 points, 89 points.
Yeah.
And you think if Arsenal had been seriously been breathing down Liverpool's neck, that maybe they wouldn't have had it all their own way.
It makes it a lot harder to win the league when you've got somebody breathing down your neck and the pressure. You've already seen them win at the 12:30 kick-off on the Saturday afternoon.
I think that's what we've missed, haven't we? We've missed that little bit towards the title this year. And look, the challenge is out there for Arsenal. City obviously tried to revamp the squad in January, but Chelsea, we're not sure. Newcastle, obviously winning the cup, they've got some momentum. We'll talk about Villa in a minute, but they seem to have hit a brick wall at the minute. The season's probably a month too far for them. But yeah, there's some big teams out there, but they've all dropped off. And look, Liverpool have still got the points on board, but it's not been the intense finish because they've not had that pressure.
If Arsenal can find a killer striker, I think it's game on next year, and I think it's a three-way battle between Man City, Liverpool and Arsenal. But Liverpool need a killer striker because Núñez, it's not working, and Arsenal need a killer striker. And I think if they both can find them from somewhere, God knows where.
Because it looks like City have come through or coming through that really horrible period, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And it was interesting, obviously, Guardiola, through gritted teeth, is congratulating Liverpool on their title after their FA Cup win yesterday. But the reality is, he were asked a question, is it a good season if you win the FA Cup and finish 4th or 5th? And the reality is, from where they've been, no, it's not.
No.
And that's kind of the bare minimum. They have to win the FA Cup. And obviously they've got to get in the Champions League, whether it's 4th or 5th.
I've got some tickets to the Liverpool-Arsenal game in a couple of weeks' time on a Sunday, right? Are Arsenal expected to give a guard of honour to Liverpool? How does that work?
Isn't it the last game of the season?
Is it? It's like, I think this is the penultimate game of the season, or maybe there might be 2 left afterwards. But
I'm not sure.
Will
at some point they normally clap somebody out, but it might be.
I thought it was the final game of the season.
I don't know. It would be interesting.
Well, if that game's in between the PSG stuff for Arsenal, then it'll be Arsenal.
No, it's after. It's after.
Arsenal will do because they're a nice team.
But that's what I'm saying, though. The Arsenal fans are not going to be happy with that, are they? Liverpool fans are going to be mocking pictures up, memes up, all sorts. Like, you know what I mean? Like Arsenal fans clapping and the league champions onto the pitch.
And is that game at Arsenal then as well?
Hold on. It says here, right, so good searching on Google, Jay. It is customary but not officially compulsory for the Premier League champions to receive a guard of honour if they are crowned before the final game of the season. So I think
on the final.
So for the remaining games that Liverpool have got left, the opposition will give them a guard of honour, almost a little clap onto the pitch.
We'll see. Talking about the seasons, though, Watto, obviously with City's season not being considered good, Villa, like you said, it just feels like they've had some big games this season.
Yeah,
and has it taken just the wind out their sails?
I think it has, because 2 weeks ago we were talking here, potential to get semi-final of the Champions League and then final FA Cup and trying to get top 5.
Champions League.
And all of a sudden, in 2 weeks, the whole stratosphere's changed for them, and it looks now like it might be nothing.
Yeah.
And yes, they've done well to get as far in the Champions League. Yes, they had an FA Cup semi-final. But if they finish 6th, and it's not being disrespectful or 7th, and they've got Thursday night football and Sunday football, the whole dynamic changes for them. Having been so close to touching everything, I think it would be a massive disappointment. And because I was there on Saturday watching that game, as I've just said, I think the season's a month too long for them. They were honestly out for physically, tactically, and Villa were really, really poor. But I think it's because Palace were top.
Do you know what Villa need to do next year is, if they are in the Europa League, they need to win it. The only way Villa can be seen to be progressing now is them winning the Europa League next season. That's a real marker in the sand of where they are. Another domestic cup, for sure. But I think Villa fans will buzz off this season.
Oh, you ask any Villa fan.
Right, they'll buzz
it's
off.
Progress.
So the second game against PSG was one of the best games I've seen. It was phenomenal. What a watch. Villa are some team, by the way. They've lost last-minute goal to Man City, which is an absolute blow in the Premier League last week, which is, it kills them. Absolutely. It's a classic six-pointer, and it kills them. And then Saturday was just, I think you put it down to, you know what, Palace were very good and Villa didn't even get out of first gear. They were brutal. But I think for them next season, the aim should be going into it, Champions League qualification either by top 5, top 4, or winning the Europa League. And I think they're well capable of it as well.
Villa fans, like, if they do finish 7th, it's not a case of, we've gone backwards because we finished 7th this season. There are other circumstances because of the runs they've gone on in the FA Cup and Champions League. So, on the whole, there's no Villa fan in the country that will be disappointed.
Oh, you'd rather be a Villa fan than what, probably 15 or 16 other Premier League teams?
I think
you'd much rather be a Villa fan.
Villa have got it right, haven't they? And we spoke about the recruitment in January. If they can recruit well again in the summer, the big question will be obviously Rashford not in the squad, apparently got injured in the game, in training in the week, but then he's not travelled with the team, but he manages to get to Wembley for Tottenham for the Boxing.
Yeah, for the fight, yeah.
And it's just not a good look. And them things I think Emery will be thinking on and thinking about the future, because is it all about football or is it all about the entourage?
If you were Emery, would you sign him? If it was your choice, you're Emery, would you sign him?
The problem I've got, mate, is that I'm not there every day and trying to see the dynamic of them building a relationship and how he's working every day. If on the cold light of day I see that he's not with me in the team, look, if he's injured, he's injured. But I think you can go to Wembley and be seen at Wembley with your teammates and still get across London to get to Tottenham Hotspur. That look just doesn't portray well for me.
But from what you've seen on the football pitch then, since going to Villa, on the football pitch, would you say he's a £40 million player?
He's a £40 million player.
He's a £40 million player.
No, based on
what
we've seen.
I just don't think he's a £40 million player for Villa. I don't think he really suits it. I just think with Marcus Rashford comes too much circus. There always just seems to be too much other stories. It's not always about football. There's always something else. The boxing, going to that, not going to the game, but being sick. And I just don't think Unai Emery wants that. I don't think he needs that. He'll be able to spend 40 million quid elsewhere, and I think you'll get better results in a bigger picture by doing it that way.
Because the wages they'd have to spend on him would be...
It's massive.
He'd be their top earner, wouldn't he?
Of course he would, yeah.
But I think the question that we just coming to is that he probably is worth 40 million quid. But if Villa don't take you because of this antics, then everybody else is saying the same thing, and he's not going back to Man United, is he? So what happens next for Marcus Rashford? That's
right. Here's a question then. You've got a 40 million quid release clause for Liam Delap, yeah, or you've got 40 mil.
Liam Delap.
Marcus Rashford. Who are you signing?
Well, Delap all day.
And I think in this scenario here, I think virtually every Premier League team would be looking and saying, "Do you reckon we could get Liam Delap?" Every Premier League team, because whether you want him as the main man or you want him to blood him for another year or two till he really finds his feet, or you want him as a B option, he fits all the bills. He really, really does. Interesting, isn't it, lads?
It is interesting.
Well, I think he gets into every top team, Delap. Not maybe as a starter all the time, but you're taking him in your group and you'd adapt down the sides.
You don't get none of that other stuff off the pitch with Liam Delap, do you? You're not getting none of these pictures taken, paparazzi following everywhere, and that's the problem with it. It is. It's not just signing a player anymore. You've got to sign everything that comes with it as well.
And I think that will affect it.
And what we're saying about Forest. So Forest are now 6th.
But they're a very good team.
On 60 points.
They're a very, very good team.
Yeah, what I'm saying, you know about you say about Villa, the season being a month too long. Like, are we thinking now that Forest aren't going to?
No, because if they win their game in hand, that puts them into third.
Yeah,
they're back up into third.
And you know what the last game of the season is? Forest-Chelsea.
Massive. It's absolutely massive.
Game, yeah.
It's massive. If you want to finish in that top 5, you need to win the remaining 4 games. You need to win the rest of your games.
So someone's going to.
So there's going to be 1 or 2 teams that will do that, and they're the ones that will find themselves into it.
So they've got Brentford next.
I think we're all thinking Newcastle are flying so much that they probably will, right?
Yeah.
Man City seem to be Man City in again. So
Man City
that's
in
Liverpool, that's Newcastle, Arsenal, and Man City.
And then one more.
And then it's one more out of Villa, Chelsea,
Forest.
or Forest. And
they're in the box seat. If they win,
I think them fixtures are not bad for Forest. Brentford at home, tough game, but you'd hopefully get something. Palace away will be a toughie. But Leicester at home, West Ham away.
Palace away is a ridiculously tough match, yeah? Because Palace now have also got the FA Cup final to keep fresh for. Yeah. So every player in that Palace squad is going to be wanting to impress as much as you possibly can,
They need 10 points from them 5 games.
They were a little bit... Like, with watching the game, the Forest game, that Morgan Gibbs-White volley, that left foot,
player, man.
Oh, my
Beautiful
God.
Player.
But then he's rounded the keeper. He should have
scored.
And then a 1 year, like, they hit the bar 3 times. It could have been a different game.
It could have been a different... That's football for you then, mate. You don't put the ball in the back of the net. That's it.
And when you play the big boys, them moments become bigger.
Ruthless.
You know what I mean? The big boys just have that way. And actually, I thought Forest recovered well, because going behind after 2 minutes, that's tough.
Oh, yeah, tough.
Tough going at Wembley.
On a big old pitch at Wembley.
Big old pitch at Wembley.
Yeah.
But look, they've got phenomenal support behind them, Forest, and I think they've done things proper behind the scenes as well. And as the club's gone on, I think they'll be very, very close, but it might be a little bit of a step too far.
Give me your top 5 then, lads. So it's Liverpool, Arsenal, and then give me the other 3.
Newcastle definitely getting it.
Yeah.
City are definitely getting it.
Newcastle, City,
and
Chelsea.
Then, so you're happy with Newcastle and City? Yeah?
Newcastle, City and Chelsea, I think.
I would probably go that way, yeah.
Do you know what? I think it'd be a real shame if Forest didn't, because they've had an absolutely fantastic year. But at the end of the season, if you'd have said to the Forest fans, you're going to finish 7th and get some European football, they would go, do you know what? Amazing. We're going to have some epic adventures next season. But it's just a shame because they've been there all year.
I'm gonna go for Forest, lads.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go
Do you
for
believe
Forest.
it?
I just think...
Well, on the fixtures we just seen, they can get 10 points there.
Just from the fixtures.
Yeah.
I just think the fixtures are much nicer for Nottingham Forest. And if you play Chelsea against Forest, I think I'm picking Forest to win that game all the time. I think they've got better players equipped to deal with that pressure on that.
Well, that last game could be winner takes all, couldn't it?
Winner takes all.
It's mad that you say that, because Chelsea have spent... They're the most expensive squad ever assembled, £1 billion squad, and you're saying Nottingham Forest have got the better... And I don't disagree with you.
Yes, it's the cold light of day that Chelsea have signed players that, one, are way too expensive for what they are, but two, they're just too inexperienced, too young, and I think when you try and mould all that together, it just doesn't come out with a good
When you spend £1 billion
recipe.
and you haven't got a goalkeeper that is rock solid and a striker that is knocking in 20, 25 Premier League goals a season, you've got to wonder something's gone wrong.
You would say somebody somewhere's not quite done the job properly in terms of the director of football, recruitment department, manager with the recruitment department over the period of time, because they're like glaring mistakes. You see the top goalies in the league, you see the top forwards in the league, and we're saying, or I think they might get that 5th spot, but the goalie and the striker is probably not in the top 10 in the league at Chelsea. And if they had got one of them positions or both of them filled, then they would probably be quite comfortably in that top 4 already.
Can we talk about Sanchez? So there's this thing, right, with goalkeeping. And my opinion, and tell me if I'm right or wrong, if you are a Premier League goalkeeper, it should be an absolute given that you are a world-class shot stopper.
Yes.
Now, I don't think there's any question of that with Robert Sanchez. It's the rest of it. It's the it's the judgment.
Yeah, it's the mentality of it. It's every goalie can make world-class saves. It's about being calm under pressure, yeah? It's about being alert and ready to go, but also being calm with it and relaxed with it and not panicking. And like we spoke about in Arne a couple of weeks ago, where in the big moments when he needs to make a block save down here, everything tenses up, his wrist goes rock solid, his hand goes rock solid, and the ball it's like hitting a brick wall and it just comes straight back out again from where it came from. You can't do that as a goalie. You've got to be soft with it. You've got to be so calm, and it's such a risky game to play where you've got to just loosen. Relax, and get a nice... You can feel the ball, and you can feel when you just push it around the post. And at that moment in time, he panics, and I think Sanchez is exactly the same. At certain moments when he needs to be calm under pressure, he panics and he tenses up, and that's where all of the errors start creeping.
And was he doing... I saw Joe Hart, who's really insightful, and he's talking about Robert Sanchez, and the way he comes out, and it almost feels like sometimes he's trying to do too much and go, I'm going to put my imprint on this game.
It's so hard to try and... He's right. He's trying to do too much instead of just being settled and being comfortable and knowing what he is as a goalkeeper and letting it come onto you. Don't create work for yourself.
No, that's true.
Do not go looking for work. That's when you're in problem.
No, but that's where risk occurs, isn't it?
Risk occurs when you're in places that you shouldn't be. So the defender's thinking, I've got this, and he turns around and he hears you coming or sees you out, and it's like, oh no, and all bets are off at that point. Whereas a nice, steady, solid, calm... This is why they say about goalkeepers being better with age, because it's not about their body or physically, it's about their brain, mentally. They calm down, they relax, they stay in their slot, then everybody knows where they are.
I think you're spot on. I mean, for me, Sanchez, as a profile, has got everything you want. And on the weekend, both goalies in that game, Chelsea-Everton, were phenomenal. And he made some really big saves. One especially down to his right were phenomenal. He made a reaction save from a header, but I thought that were comfortable. But he's got everything. If I'm a goalie coach wanting to recruit at the top level in terms of physicality and attributes, he's got them. But there's two elements to his game that I see as massive weakness. One is the mentality to prove he can play at the top team and be at the top table. But I think within the game is concentration levels, which is again is part of the mentality and the psychological elements within the game. He seems to drift and do crazy things, and even though he's got all the other attributes, the mental capacity to concentrate for 90 or 100 minutes and not drift, and as the game's developing around you, seems to be a real big.
So he's
boring.
20. I just looked. He's 27 now, Robert Sanchez. And you say about the age with goalkeepers. Look at Aaron Ramsdale, just been relegated again. But Aaron's what, 25?
Yeah.
If you were Chelsea fans, manager, hierarchy, you had the choice between the two, who would you go for, and how much could you, if you were to get your hands as a coach, Watto, on someone like Aaron Ramsdale? He's a very good goalkeeper now.
Yeah.
But how many more levels are there at 25 to go through? How many more gears can he go through?
Yeah, look, I think with a Ramsdale at 25, having the number of games he's got behind him in terms of top level football, the sessions you would put on as a goalie coach, you hope that they take you to a level, especially if you've got a good group and they're challenging each other every day. But the margins you're making, it's the little mental adjustments and the positioning adjustments just to really fine-tune his game, because he's a top goalkeeper, Aaron Ramsdale, and maybe the platform of being at a big club again would actually suit his game. Look, he's done phenomenal for Southampton this year, but ultimately he's had to make save upon save upon save. He obviously had a bad finger injury as well, but ultimately I think he is a top level goalie. He proved it at Arsenal, didn't he? But when it went against him, that's when you need the coaching team and the management to back you. And at Arsenal it went the other way, whereas I would back myself as a coach to do some good work on the grass for sure, but the support and the detail around the analysis of opposition and his own performance, I think, could drive.
But he got a rough end. Like, I always think, like, Aaron leaving Arsenal, it was circumstantial.
Yeah.
Like, Aaron didn't hit an awful run of form.
No.
He didn't.
Do you know what? The whole thing's so...
We spoke about it every week, didn't we?
We spoke about it every week. And at the time, I remember us all saying, like, why are they bothering to get David Raya in? They don't need... This is a problem they don't need to find a solution for, It works with Aaron Ramsdale. Just leave him there. He's cool. But in fairness, David Raya has gone into Arsenal and he's been incredible, right? I've been so impressed with everything about the top goalies in the league, right? Emi Martinez, Alisson, David Raya. Calmness, composure, and then that just... they're not flustered. Nothing really seems to fluster them. That's what I want from my goalies, and David Raya has been phenomenal. Rambo, though, just seems to have been a victim of this, and then he found himself at a relegated team again, and he will probably get another move in the summer.
Would you take him if you're Chelsea?
Yes, I would. It would be an upgrade.
Me too.
It would be an upgrade.
Oh, it'd be an upgrade?
It'd be an upgrade.
And if you had your hands of it and him at Chelsea, Watto, as a coach, you're confident you could get him to those names?
Yeah, because he's phenomenal. He's got the attributes. The timing at Arsenal didn't work for him, but he's a human being like the rest of us. And when you keep getting knocked with a stick from the outside world, you need a little bit of love internally. I think the players at Arsenal loved him, to be honest with you, but at that point, he didn't get the support from the coaching staff and the management that he needed at that point, and they went the other way with Raya, and it's proved to be, ultimately for them, a masterstroke, so we're not knocking that. But I think if Aaron would have had a little bit more support, I think he would have come through that, and it'd have been a better
Rambo needs to find a team that are going to be a solid, settled Premier League team, and you'll get another 10 years out of Aaron Ramsdale at the top level. That's what Aaron Ramsdale needs.
Well, he's a future England goalie, isn't he? I know he's played for England, but like if he gets in that settled Premier League team, good people around him, and just flourishes, then he's Pickford's ready-made
replacement. Would it be seen as a risk to go from a relegated team to a top 6 team, a Newcastle, a Chelsea, someone like that, a Villa, if Martinez went? Would that be seen as a risk by one of these teams?
No, that would be
because he's been relegated.
It would seem to me that would just be a fix. It would be right, fine, leave him to. I wouldn't worry about it. It's like that would be boxed off then. Cool, we've got our goalie sorted.
Because there's a good sign in there.
It's a really good sign in there. I think the funny thing is that Chelsea's best goalie this year has been out on loan at Bournemouth. Kepa has been, I think he's been fantastic for Bournemouth this season. Whether they sign him in the summer or not, because there's going to be a bit of a merry-go-round. I think Kelleher at Liverpool is going to be leaving. There's rumours of him going to Bournemouth, which means that if Kepa doesn't sign there, then he'll go back to Chelsea. Will he be fighting for the number 1 spot there? I think sometimes with Kepa, he's better off at a Bournemouth than he is at a Chelsea. I think mentality-wise, he doesn't really suit Chelsea. I think it's too much of a big club for him. But at Bournemouth, he flourishes and he's on fire. He looks like he's enjoying his football, and I love watching him play as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. But there's going to be, I reckon, 4 or 5 goalkeepers moving in the summer, and they're going to be looking at 3 or 4 teams that need new goalies, and it's going to be, just get me in there, please, get me in there. Please, let me be
You don't normally get that much action in the goalies in the league in one summer, but I agree. I think there'll be 4 or 5 moves this summer, but when the first one happens, it'll trigger the rest of the jigsaw pieces coming into place. But going back to the point, Aaron Ramsdale is a Premier League goalie, and he's better than going to a promoted team, as in if Leeds thought, right, should we take an Aaron Ramsdale? Of course, it's a massive club, and Ellen Road, full house, it's an amazing place to go and play your football. I'm not saying that, but the challenge is, again, to stay in the league, because the gap between the 3 that come up and the rest is massive. Aaron needs to, if he's going to make a choice, middle of the road or get one of the bigger ones and really re-establish
He needs to come to the Black Country, to Wolverhampton Wanderers. He'll have a nice home there.
What's wrong with Jose Sarr, mate? What's wrong with Sam Johnston?
I'll take Aaron, thank you.
Right, Aaron's a very good goalie. It's going to be so interesting. Like you say, Leeds getting promoted. Burnley are sorted with Trafford. Leeds, Meslier got dropped a month ago. Cardalo came in, has done incredible, steadied the ship for them. But you would think that they would probably want to get a goalie with a lot of Premier League experience. So, there's going to be fun and games in the summer in the goalkeepers.
Should we talk about West Ham, Foz? Because the wheels feel like they're a bit rickety, and it doesn't, like Fulkrug last week came out, and then there was some really, really worrying behaviours on the pitch this week. Yeah, well, Fulkrug obviously said what he said last week. Then Potter came out and said that he should probably keep them views to himself or keep them behind closed doors. And
straight away, I don't like that, because I just think then at that point, full crew's going to be going, hang on a minute, you're happy for the lads to just do this kind of behaviour? Yeah, is this what happens at West Ham? The West Ham fans aren't very happy. 2-1 up with minutes to play, and they go and end up losing the game 3-2. And the way that they lose the game as well.
Wow.
Watto, if you're the coach, if you're a set-piece coach there, right, and you're watching West Ham defend these corners, being able to play a short corner in the 97th minute.
Quiz-type meltdown.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
absolute head loss.
Worse than quiz-type meltdown, that, mate, honestly.
Just nobody's showing any will to want to get that team over the line or help everybody out.
You're pissed, you've just conceded an equaliser.
Yeah.
But, like, the last thing that's going to happen here, guys, is we're going to get beat. So everybody knows your jobs. Get your roles, get in position quickly. When the roll is short, right, that's your trigger. Boom, boom, boom. It's like a domino effect. Yeah. Everybody, boom, boom, boom. And when it gets to the edge of the box, we should be up, and then my first man challenging 10 yards higher, but then I want you to take one in the bollocks or the face, not looking at your arse. And then we speak about the goalie, and it's a real tough one because he doesn't see it and all that. But, like, you can't just stand there and watch it go in from 35 yards. Oh, I mean, seriously, you've got to anticipate. You can see the rest of the team's lethargic and not doing it, and I think that set the lead into Areola's boots.
Yes, exactly.
When everybody else is inching forward as though they're walking on the fucking sea bottom in lead boots, he's just standing there with his lead boots on and like, oh my God.
It was. I watched it. I couldn't believe it. From the corner being played short, and 3 or 4 of them having their back towards the corner.
Honestly, it's embarrassing.
Every Sunday morning, lads, turn and face.
Switch on.
Switch on. Every single Sunday morning on kids' football, you see that. And to see that develop at Premier League level.
Take one in the face.
But even Jared, I love Jared Bowen to bits, but like it took him a minute to kind of go, oh, OK, I'll close him down.
Do you know why people turn their back on stuff, right? It's because they don't want to get hit, because they're afraid of getting hit, right? So they turn themselves like that. But what it actually does is makes them smaller. It's a smaller surface area. If you ran out to it and just sort of like went like that, even if it hits your arm, just whatever it is, just take a contact, right? It's not going to kill you. It really isn't.
It's a bag of wind, isn't it?
It's a bag of wind, mate.
Is it a real mass? Because I think Potter's got 13 points in 14 games or 15 games, something like that.
Not great.
Is this a massive, massive worry, or is this a case of they're safe and they've just pulled the handbrake up?
Well, look, the facts are they are safe because the bottom 3 are shit.
Yes.
But that shouldn't help you as a West Ham fan, and I thought it was a real good appointment when they brought him in. But to have won 20% of your games is not good enough. And actually, what you're trying to create now is some momentum to take you into next year and get people on board. And finishing like that is just a no-no. The only positive I take out of it is, if I'm a West Ham fan, it's the first time I've seen Potter, in all his time as a manager, kind of lose his cool a bit. Yeah. And he says, if I want to swear, I can swear. If you want me to swear, I'll swear. Well, I swear quite a lot. And sometimes it's very good for you to get it out there. And when you're actually swearing at somebody and there's a little bit of anger coming out, like if it had been the set-piece coach in that dressing room, then that's what the players maybe want to see a little bit.
They need that. Players need that little bit of aggression, that little bit of puts you on your
Well, you were watching the interview and you went,
yeah, he meant that. That's what that West Ham team need. And I think this is the problem that Potter's got, is that he's come in, and if West Ham for the second half of the season would have been this front-footed team, really aggressive, maybe not got the quality, but really aggressive and really know what they're doing. But what they've shown is they're milky. They're milky, and they're going down with a whimper. They're losing games with a whimper. Thankfully, like what I said, there's 3 teams that are worse than them this season, but any other season they would have been right in the mix, right? You watch Liverpool on Sunday afternoon. Every single minute of that game, they are on the front foot with aggression, with intent to want to win the game. And the opposite with West Ham, complete opposite. It's like, well, we're not going to get relegated. Let's just get this season out of the way.
Do you think next season, are we just in the trend now of the promoted teams coming straight back down? Because you'd think with a big team like Leeds coming up, who else we got coming up? Burnley.
It's still, the gulf is massive, mate. The difference between Premier League and then top Championship, it's still massive. Mm-hmm. It's massive. It really, really is. And it's going to be interesting because you just don't know what these teams are going to do. Are they going to give it a proper go and try and splash 150 million quid? Can they do that financially? You just don't know, mate. It's so tough. It really, really is.
Well, the thing is, Scott Parker's had 3 promotions in 6 years to get out of the Championship. So he's got some momentum at that level. But then it's an astronomical jump where they're going to go. And Burnley obviously look like they're potentially that perennial yo-yo team now. I can't never see them really going crazy on a spending spree next year. He's going to rely on that kind of team ethic to get them over the line. Leeds, potentially, because of the size of the club, and financially, they would be able to do it, but they'd have to make some real astute signings to get over the line. And any of the other 4, Sheffield United have been the perennial ones at the minute. But if Sheffield United got up, they're not going to blow a budget away. And then, you know, any of the rest of them are just going to be happy to get in there.
Yeah. It's tricky, isn't it? Because, like, one thing I will say is that Scott Parker, you can't think he's going to go up and do a Vincent Kompany. He can't. No. He hasn't got that luxury of getting the sack and going to Bayern Munich, has he?
No, so he'll adapt to the league.
Well, he's got to adapt, but then you're asking them to play a different style of football of what they've been accustomed to for the last year or two.
Yeah, sure.
So you're expecting players that have been doing job A to do a different job completely next year, and that's where the problem arises, because it's all very well getting promoted from the Championship, playing this, like, real nice defensive attacking, you know, like, keeping it nice and... But it don't work in the Premier League. It really don't work in the Premier League. It's a different league completely.
He'll be hoping that the platform they've got with Trafford in goal and the defensive unit, I think they've only conceded 15 or 16
got a couple
goals.
Like, real good defenders.
But the level you're going up to is crazy. So we know they're not going to keep that kind of record, but that stability gives you something. But here's one for you to finish on. Would you bring Jamie Vardy to the Burnley party next season? He's leaving Leicester.
I think Jamie Vardy, genuinely, and I do mean this, could sign for probably 15 Premier League teams.
And how old is he? 38?
38,
no,
37,
39.
He could sign for 15 different Premier League teams because, again, very similar to a sort of Liam Delap scenario where he's not going to be the main man for anybody, really. He's not. He's not going to play your 32, 33
He'll be
games.
39 in next season.
But what he will do is he can come off the bench for half an hour, 40 minutes, 30 minutes, 25 minutes and give you everything he's got. He can still do those runs in behind, those sneaky little unseen runs in behind and score you goals. And he's a great lad as well.
If you were genuinely, like a Newcastle fan, the way they play a Villa fan...
Mate, you could sign for all of them.
And you'd go... If you were a Villa fan and they signed him, you'd go, fair play.
Cool. I see that.
Take him for a year.
Man United, I could see that. Arsenal, I could see that.
He'd be the absolute star.
West Ham, Chelsea, everybody. I could see him signing for him. I really could. It would not surprise me where he ends
I would
up.
agree. And he's a great advert for Red Bull gives you wings, isn't it? Honestly, God, the Red Bull sales wherever he goes will be through the roof.
Big again. Should we talk about Man United, lads? We've done a whole show so far and haven't mentioned Man United.
Yeah.
Do
you know why?
Because
Bournemouth dropped points, didn't they?
Because Bournemouth had a stinking result and only drew against Manchester United. And it was kind of, it was exactly what we thought it would be, really. Man United sort of huffed and puffed. Bournemouth had some chances. United had some chances.
Bournemouth will be disappointed.
Bournemouth will be disappointed.
Even with 10 men, they're disappointed. Because I tell you what, if they had 11 on, they will beat.
They weren't fantastic, Man United and Bournemouth. I agree, lads. Even with 10 men, would be disappointed.
What about the red card and the
Evan Nilsson red card?
Yeah, and then the other one with Tyler Adams.
Evan Nilsson red card, I'm not having it. I don't think it's a red card.
Neither.
I think he hasn't gone in with any intent whatsoever. He's kind of foul, and the way he's foul, he's had to do what he needed to do.
Common sense has got to prevail?
He didn't, exactly that. He didn't really make contact with Mazraoui anyway. Mazraoui has gone crazy overboard, diving and grabbing his leg, and there's nothing wrong with him whatsoever.
He's just gone to plant his left foot and sweep his right foot in, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
And
the left leg's give away a little bit, and he's momentum.
And then he's not in control of his limbs.
But
Mazraoui's got him sent off there, basically, by diving and holding his legs and pretending he's really hurt him, and he hasn't. He hasn't hurt him one little bit, because he gets up and he's absolutely
And
fine
what do you think, Ben, about the Tyler Adams one?
Yeah, I don't even think it's a yellow card. I really don't think it's a yellow card. It's a 50-50. What I will say about it is the only reason why he's given it as a yellow card is because he kind of just opens his foot up a little bit as he's going to do the block tackle. But it's a block tackle. It's a 50-50 block tackle. And in future, Garnacho needs to be a bit cleverer as well, because he needs to see what's happening and he needs to protect himself more, because he's gone in there with an open knee. He's gone in there with his foot open, which is just crying out for a medial ligament injury. Crying out for it. That is exactly how you do it. Open block tackles. So Garnacho needs to see that coming, and either go with a straight leg and go with the top of his foot, or just avoid it completely and jump out of the way. But he'll get injured if he carries on doing that, I promise you that.
Ipswich officially relegated this weekend, comfortably brushed aside by Newcastle.
Yeah.
What's your summary on Newcastle's season, Ben?
Very good. Very, very good season. It will one that will live long in the memories of Newcastle fans. 70 years without a trophy. So they're just on an absolute high. They look like a very good football team, really well run, even when Eddie Howe weren't there the last couple of weeks. Great to see him back, by the way. They still look a well-oiled machine, don't they?
Yeah. It were a good game to get, wasn't it? Ipswich at home, and look, obviously the fullback gets sent off for two stupid, or certainly the second one, stupid booking, and then the game's gone at Newcastle for sure. Soft penalty just before half-time, and Isaac, the man in the photo, does his business. I think he's a top player, and I think if they get in the Champions League, there's no stress, they'll be keeping him. I think the only thing for a player of his ability would be if Newcastle fell out of that race. A player of his quality deserves to be playing in the Champions League, and that's what the top players all want.
Where do you think they need to strengthen to push on now?
I think they need two centre-halves, and
do you really?
I think to be top.
A bit more pace. They need younger, fresher, really. I think Dan Burn will always play a role. Fabian Schär will still always play a role for that football club. But they need real, exciting, like that Hausen at Bournemouth would be an unreal fit for Newcastle. That ilk of kind of young, up-and-coming energy, can play the ball out from the back.
I think they need another wide player of the three up top.
Yeah.
I think they need a wide player like Liverpool, where I know you could argue that Liverpool need to kick on, but they've got a number of players that can slot in, and I think they need one of them. And then
it's probably that. But again, though, Jacob Murphy will always play. He's got such a good bond with Isaac. The amount of them two, the goal involvements, them two between this season, I think it's the top, is it, in the whole of the Premier League for.
But would you say Jacob Murphy and Harvey Barnes are on Anthony Gordon's level? For argument's sake,
I would say, as far as backup goes, Harvey Barnes is about as good in the Premier League as a
But this
backup.
is what they're saying. Do they need that to go truly next
probably.
level?
Yeah, probably.
And then even the midfield, like the midfield's dynamite, but in terms of like cover, then
you're only one problem away from really dropping
having a
the
problem.
level. But then that's where the same is. Obviously, they have Callum Wilson as a backup striker, but he's never fit. So Vardy, like we're talking about,
there you go.
He can go to any of these places because he will have an impact on the team.
Do you think
can you imagine how much Newcastle fans would love a Jamie Vardy ratting around?
If you were Jamie Vardy, would you want to, let's assume it's going to be his last year, or he's got 1 or 2 seasons left, because he is going to be 39 in January.
Yeah.
Right. If you were Jamie Vardy and you've achieved all that he's done and scored all the goals, would you want to get a bit more money and go to Newcastle and start 3 games a season?
Firstly, is Jamie Vardy a Premier League legend?
Yes.
Yes. Well done, lads. Thank you for saying that.
We were unanimous for once.
Yeah, completely agree.
Absolutely.
But secondly, would he want to go to a Championship team, play every week?
No, Championship not happening. The only options for him still not happening.
He's not even going to go back to his own team, Chef Wednesday.
Abroad, he could go to America. Yeah, if he's at that point where he's like, you know what, me and the missus and the kids, we're gonna go out there for another couple of years now. Smash it in the MLS. You'll be loved out there. He would actually do really well out there. He'd score some goals. Nice bit of warm weather, shorts and flip flops every day, barbecues every day, driving fancy cars. It sounds lovely, doesn't it? Or there's 15 Premier League teams you can sign for, Jamie. Take your pick. Newcastle would be unreal for him.
This is then when the personal situation comes in. Where are the kids? Are they at school?
Exactly, yeah. So I would think at 39 he's probably got young teenagers, yeah? He'll probably have 11, 12, 13-year-old kids that are in school, settled, yeah? You've got to think logistically. And would he be willing to go to Newcastle? The family, you're going to struggle to get the whole family moved up to Newcastle.
MLS.
You're talking Midlands area, maybe one of the Manchester clubs, maybe North London clubs. That's about where Jamie Vardy's going to go. It's true, isn't it?
No, it's true. I think he's obviously done a lot, and he winning it with Leicester put him in the Champions League, so he's had the Champions League experience, he's won the league. I would like to see him finish in the Premier League because I'm that kind of guy, and I'd like to see him at the best he could possibly be. But ultimately, for all he's achieved in the game, on the other side, I don't see him running off to Saudi because he's not that guy.
No.
You know what I mean?
Here's one for you. This puts the cat amongst the pigeons. We always used to have this debate in the office. Who's had a better career? Harry Kane or Jamie Vardy?
Cool.
Harry Kane.
Okay. Based on
He's a better player.
Okay.
He's a better goal scorer.
Who's had a better career?
Harry Kane.
Okay. Jamie Vardy's won FA Cup,
Yeah.
Premier League.
I'd still take Harry Kane.
Yeah, I not disagreeing. I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, I would still take Harry Kane because Harry Kane is a world-class player.
If you, what are you saying, Watto? Who's had the better career?
I've got to go with Harry Kane. I mean, look, I love Jamie Vardy. We all agreed he's a Premier League legend, and for sure he is. And what he brought to the Premier League has been monumental. And where he come from, Stockbridge Park Steels, and the rise through the leagues, it's an incredible story. But Harry Kane, you're talking top, and look, it looks like eventually this year he's going to get a winner's medal.
That picture of him and Jamie Vardy and Harry Kane sat on the bench at Leicester when they were little kind of like 21-year-old rat bags. Like,
brilliant.
Jamie Vardy's got a Mohican sort of like mohawk kind of thing. But yeah, I just hope he don't sign for another team that's going to get relegated again next season. So no signing for Tottenham or Man United or anything like that. You've got to... Right, should we go quiz, lads?
Yeah,
should we go quiz? Come on, let's go.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Football Filling Quiz. Today, the scores are Tom is on 16, you, Ben, are on 11, Watto, you're on 5.
Question for you, Jay.
Question.
Do I get a guard of honour?
No.
Why?
What, the last week?
Yeah.
You haven't won it yet? No, but we're doing like a main quiz, haven't we, anyway?
What do you mean?
Question for you, Jay. Talk us through that shorts.
Short situation.
Short shorts.
They're not short shorts, they're just pulled up. There we go.
Do you know,
when I sit down, they go...
I can't see anything here but a black T-shirt. All I see is sofa and
the
white.
legs. Yeah, I'm going to get some more tan.
His tan's pretty soft.
Well, I'm going to have to go on holiday and get a bit of tan, or maybe sit in the sun for a bit. We've got a couple of hot days coming.
Ben doesn't allow holidays, sorry, mate.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. I'll give them all to Luke, it's fine. Right, are we ready?
Yeah.
We're ready, mate.
I feel like it's a good quiz today, guys, so
Good.
I'm hoping you guys will be happy.
On, Jimmy.
First question.
First question.
This is always the decider.
This is the decider,
So,
yeah.
Jamie Vardy.
Oh, yeah, shit.
No, that's
Imagine.
not. It's not. Should I rule him out? Is he out?
Hey?
Hey, come on, you're referee.
You can't start like that,
I'm
man.
not doing it. No. Question 1. Who was the manager when West Ham signed Carlos Tevez and Javier
Alan Kirbishley.
Mascherano? No.
Pardew.
That wasn't.
My God. Alan Pardew is the correct answer.
I think that was Watto.
You both said that very in sync.
Thanks, Lukey.
What are you thinking, Luke?
VAR.
I think
Watto.
I think I...
He started it first.
No, he didn't.
And then you
I started it first, he finished it quicker.
Who's the point going to, Jay?
VAR is Lukey boy, and he has the headphones on so he can actually hear the audio. So
Let me know who said that first, who started
Well, we
it
know
first.
who's
Good
going to
game,
say
nice
it first. Me.
I don't mind.
it's okay.
Don't accept
okay, though?
defeat
No,
so
I'm
easy
fine, I'm
today.
happy- I'm
Don't-
happy with it, yeah.
Don't be like West Ham
Who's that?
today, mate.
No,
Don't
who was
accept
the-
defeat.
Remember who the agent was?
Yeah, Keir Drabshin.
Yeah, that's him.
I don't.
Extra point for that.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No extra point. Woosah.
Yeah, what was it?
Question 2. Which club triggered Jamie Vardy's release clause
Arsenal.
contract in 2016 for him to turn it down and re-sign for Leicester for another 4 years? Arsenal's the correct answer.
Thank you.
Well done.
If you can jump in like that, for that, I'm sorry, but that's ridiculous.
I've learned how the game goes now, though. I've got wise to it.
Learn how to play the game and not have a meltdown, yeah?
What? What was his release clause? No bonus. That's not a question.
40 million.
No.
25.
60.
22 million was his release clause.
That's peanuts, isn't
When? 2016?
2016, yeah.
Not much that, is it?
Even back then, it wasn't silly money.
Question 3. What is the only English club Enzo Maresca has ever played for?
Leicester.
No.
I don't know why I said Leicester.
That's what they managed. Managed.
I didn't know.
Of course he did, didn't he? Yeah, he managed them.
I didn't know he did.
Yeah, that's weird.
What
He
is
had
the
one
only
season.
English club Enzo Maresca has played for? Five.
QPR.
No.
Fulham.
4. No. All back in.
West Ham.
No.
Brentford.
No.
Seems like a West
Fulham.
Ham type of player.
No. What I said, Fulham. The answer is West Brom. 1998 to 2000 he played for them.
Not know.
You should have got that.
Yeah. Started
West
his
Brom?
senior career.
Yeah. We Googled it a while ago and we were like, is that right?
Didn't
Yeah.
know that.
I
Enzo.
might have played against him.
Yeah, you might have done that.
Juventus, West Brom to Juventus.
Yeah, West Brom to Juventus.
How
Yeah.
much?
I wonder if
How
that's
much
ever
they
been-
selling for?
I don't know. This was like late 90s.
2,000.
Yeah.
See if he ever played against Barnsley, Luke.
2000. It was 2000. Yeah.
Right. Oh, come on.
Question 4, career path question. I have played for Bury, Preston North End, Portsmouth, Burnley loan.
David Nugent.
David Nugent is the correct answer.
Such an obvious quiz answer.
What do you mean?
Has to be.
So David Nugent's always like a quiz answer.
That's what I mean.
Else.
That's what I mean. Exactly
Something
that.
else, though. But not that, though. It's a career path
You just
question.
literally backed up my point.
Oh
Nibble.
my God.
See the nibsy on him?
Oh, no.
Hey, if you want to hand some cards out, get them out today.
They will be out soon. Don't you worry, Watto. Don't you worry.
I am worried.
I like generic.
I like the
answer.
way that you reverse nibsied him.
Yeah, reverse nibs. That's what it was. Question 5. All got 1 point. Which team was the first ever team in the Premier League to receive a point deduction?
Portsmouth.
No.
No, it was.
I love the way you snap him with no. No.
No. Which team was the first ever team in Premier League
Wasn't there
history
one
to
in the
receive
inaugural
a point
season?
deduction?
In the first season ever, wasn't there one then?
I'm not commenting on that. 5, 4, 3.
Bradford.
No.
Derby County.
No. All back in.
Sheffield United.
No.
Crystal Palace.
No.
West Ham.
No. You're all out. The answer is Middlesbrough.
Oh, when they didn't field that team and they went down, didn't they?
Yep, so it's.
my God, yeah.
They got a 3-point deduction. Borough failed to turn up to a game against a relegation rivals Blackburn Rovers after. Yeah.
Brian Robson manager.
Didn't they all
They had
get sick or
23
sick or
players
something,
due to illness or injury and therefore were unable to name a full squad.
That
They
wasn't lasagna one, was it?
No.
That was Spurs, weren't it?
Real. That is.
They got relegated from 2 points from safety. So that 3
So if
points.
they just turned
killed
up
them. Yeah.
Just.
and got battered.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You team.
There we go. Question 6. Glenn Hoddle has a song with what other former footballer?
Hold on, just quickly before anybody answers it. Does anybody that listens to our podcast know who Glenn Hoddle is? Of
course they do.
No,
Yes,
they don't.
they
Of course
do. They know
don't.
who Glenn
It's
Hoddle
not our
is.
target audience, all right? Our target audience is like 15 to like 35,
People
right?
as young as me.
Sorry,
Glenn
Jamie.
Hoddle is one of the best footballing minds in Britain.
He is incredible, in fairness.
That
He's a
goal,
very,
every
very
time you mention Glenn Hoddle, I always remember that goal against Watford. Little drive,
silky.
and then over that Steve Sherwood.
Speaking of viewers about Glenn Hoddle.
Do you remember when he was England manager, the name of the faith healer?
Eileen Drury.
Eileen Drury. Well done, lads.
Anyway, back to the original.
Oh, sorry.
question.
Glenn Hoddle has a song with what other former footballer?
What do you mean he has a song?
He has a song with what
Well, he
other
made a
form-
song?
Yeah, made a song. Yeah.
Chris Waddle.
Chris Waddle was the correct answer. Yeah. Pop single Diamond Lights, which
Okay.
I was just going to say Gaza just to try and...
Chart.
It's a bad question, mate.
It's not a bad question, is
Is it about football?
Yes, it is. Chris Waddle.
It's a bad question.
It rang a bell.
Can people get in the comments? Does people know who Chris Waddle is?
They do now.
Player.
Again, I'm not throwing shady. I'm just saying there might be a little bit before the generation
No,
of people
it's mix. It's a mix. That's the point
Okay.
of the quiz. It's like
Chris Waddle's a good player.
Appealing to the Facebook audience. with that
Naughty
question.
little perm on him.
Yeah, he did.
Naughty little mullet at the back there.
Mullet
wasn't it?
perm.
Yeah.
Where did Aston Villa sign Emil Heskey from?
Leicester.
No.
Wigan.
Wigan's the correct answer,
Very
Watto.
good.
very good.
Good.
Very good.
Scores on the door. Tom on 2, Ben on 1, Watto on 2. Question
Buy
8.
a win, can he, at the moment?
Who is Coventry City's highest Premier League goal scorer?
Dublin.
Oh, Whelan.
Dion Dublin's the correct answer. Watto, bang, bang.
Butters
Hit
on
fire, Akimbo.
That's why I always go to Dublin, because I'm doubling all the time. Go and get 2 Guinness, double them up, baby.
That's the RK5.
I don't know.
How many goals did he score, by the way?
Who for?
Or Coventry.
Coventry, yeah, in the Premier League.
27.
No, I'm going to say a few more. 43.
56.
61.
That's
Watto's closer.
100 club, isn't he?
Dion.
Dion.
He scored a couple passes.
Seems like a lovely, lovely man.
Yeah, he does.
What club did Paul Scholes manage in 2019? Oh my God, Watto.
Bad question.
How's that
Oh,
bad?
fuck off, it's a bad question, because I've got fucking 3 on spin.
Mate, you're flying. What's the score? 4-2-1.
Yeah, 4-2-1.
How many left?
Question 10.
Well done, Watto.
I need to go away more often.
You've,
Dubai and then Spain.
You've not had a win for quite a while, have you?
Hasn't.
Do you know,
No.
I know when my last one was because it was meltdown time at Christmas.
Did
I
you
had a win
one
on the
Christmas?
quiz, and then we had the Christmas quiz, and it was just head loss.
Yeah.
First
one
win of
since.
2025.
Yeah, so
Well done.
I can actually
Yeah,
check.
mate,
I can
you
check
deserve
if
it.
that's
I'm
true.
telling you, because
well
I
done.
fucking know these things. It's been eating away at me.
I actually think you have won a quiz this year.
Have I?
Don't lie.
Oh.
Yeah. Question 10. Cunha has equalled the record for the most goals in a Premier League campaign for a Brazilian. Can you name the other two?
Diego Costa.
No.
Firmino.
Roberto Firmino is one of
Oh,
the two.
let's see if we can get the other one, lads.
For Brazilian.
Yeah.
And it's not Diego Costa.
Nope. They scored 15 goals. So Cunha's on 15 goals this season, but that's the highest tally ever for a Brazilian in the Premier League.
Juninho?
Nope.
Richarlison?
Nope.
Oscar?
Nope.
Good guess.
I'll give you the club if you want.
Go on then.
Arsenal.
Jesus?
Nope.
Coutinho.
Baptiste?
Nope. Nope.
Julio Baptiste, what a shout that is, by the way.
Jesus.
No and no. No.
Brazilian for...
Yep. For
He's Brazilian. Jesus, isn't he?
he's had
For Arsenal?
yeah, he's had a rough couple of seasons, I'd say.
Oh,
Never got to 15.
no, I don't know.
Currently plays for Arsenal?
Yeah.
Martinelli?
Martinelli is the correct answer.
15 goals
15
in a Premier
goals
League
in a
season.
Premier League season, yeah. He did.
So
it was like
Jesus
3
never
seasons
got
ago.
15
Impressive.
for Arsenal.
No.
That's
impressive.
We'll see.
I forgot
Martinelli.
Martinelli was Brazilian, I won't even lie.
Is there a tiebreaker?
He's
There is
Italian,
tiebreaker.
surely he's Italian.
Not Italian.
Sounds Italian.
He does, he looks Italian.
Martinello.
Question 11. So this is a question where you all get an answer on this one.
All right.
How much money did Mario Balotelli get fined for doing the Why Always Me celebration against United in 2011?
I don't like that question.
Why do you not like that question?
Because
Not,
it's a guess one.
not in a tiebreaker anyway.
Hundy.
Thanks for rubbing it in.
I'm going to go for Hundy Pops.
I'm winning 20 grand.
Why always me? 50 grand.
He got fined 2 weeks' wages, which was 240 grand.
He's on 100.
Who fined him 2 weeks' wages? The club?
The club fined him 2 weeks' wages, yeah.
For what, though?
240 grand for doing the Why
I know,
Always
but
Me.
he scored a great goal. The one that bloody match.
There's no way that it's the club that are fining him for that.
No, I don't think so.
It's got to be
It
the
must
FA.
have been the Premier League
It
or
must
FA,
have been
yeah.
the Premier League.
Then they
or
would
the
have said
FA.
2 weeks' wages, and that's what it would have been.
Yeah.
He didn't take his shirt off, did he?
No, he just lifted it up and...
Just
Yeah.
iconic.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
iconic.
it's iconic.
So who said the most? You said the most. You would have got the point for that.
Thanks, Joe.
Well done. But well done, Watto.
By the way,
thank you, Jimmy.
by far and away the best player today.
Thank you.
By far
Thank
and
you.
away.
Well done,
lads. Really enjoyed that today.
There we
4
go.
points.
Felt a bit of
4
a
points Sunday, you see.
damp squib of a quiz.
Yeah, and
Not
that-
damp squib
Considering
of
he said it was a
quiz.
really good
It was a
quiz
good
today.
quiz.
No, not in
It's a
terms,
little
but
bit
in terms
different.
of the way it finished. Not in terms of the questions, but in terms of like Watto just nailed it.
It's like it's. Do you know what it is? It's ironic that the Premier League season has been a damp squib of they've run away with it and
Yeah.
there's nothing to play for anymore. And he did exactly the same with the quiz today.
he did, yeah.
So
And I didn't
for the
get
last
the
questions, we were
euphoria
like-
because normally I'm jumping.
Yeah, you normally go mad, aren't you?
Yeah, but
Don't worry,
you've
it's a big
sucked the
quiz.
life out of
Wooden
us.
spoon for the
Also,
regulars, though, isn't it?
also run.
Yeah.
What does that take this quiz to? You can't be far behind.
He's
Ben,
on
now.
6.
Massive.
Take it away.
It's all right, mate.
See you soon.